I'm so happy. I still don't know how to intro my channel, but it's okay. I'm finally back. I have been gone for like 5 months. If you do follow me on other socials, you notice that I'm just a bit like not as active, but if you again do follow me on socials, which if you don't, you probably should, you will notice that I've become a lot more active in posting on Instagram, starting TikTok, and now I'm back filming for YouTube. Who would have thought it? Not me. Like I said, I'm going to be starting some new content, stuff that I find very, very interesting. I watch it pretty much every night before I go to sleep. Do I sound mad? Probably. But I want to start a true crime series on my channel because I'm absolutely in love with watching Ellen and Neil's channel, her videos, and just it excites me. It pulls me in, so I thought I might as well come back and do my own. Hello, I'm here. I've done literally pages of research, and that's how like excited I am to get into this. So I just need to put a quick disclaimer that everything in this video is purely just things I've found on the internet, I've collected, put into one video. You've heard it all before if you've been here. And this is purely educational purposes only. So anyway, let's just get straight into the video. So the Allen Ivanov case, if I am saying that correctly, is about a 19-year-old boy based in Muckletier, Washington, United States. His full name was Allen Christopher Ivanov. He was a software engineer and he was also a student at Washington University or University of Washington. I'm not entirely sure how the Americans go about that one. He had a good education his whole life. He had good family, good people around him. His social life was amazing. He never struggled making friends with people, having connections, talking to people. He was just a very confident, lucky person. However, Allen was an adopted child and he was adopted by 2 wealthy Russian immigrants who were a very loving family. They gave him absolutely everything like he ever asked for, like anything he wanted, they gave him because they had the money to. But along with this, because they had adopted him, they had a different kind of love and they just let him off with a lot of things that he did in his childhood. He had, like I said, quite a good social life. So as a teenager, he had a good group of friends. All the girls, every single girl was interested in him. And he also had money, so it was very easy for him to be likeable and find new friends and things that he did. So in June/July of 2016, this is really where it all starts. Within these months, I'm not entirely sure which month it was, he broke things off with his girlfriend that he had been with for over a year. His girlfriend's name was Anna Bowie, and they just seemed to everyone like the perfect couple. All of their friends said, and he didn't really have any reason to break things off with his girlfriend Anna. She was his first kiss, his first girlfriend, his first pretty much everything, first date, you name it, she was his first. You can tell there's kind of like a deep little connection going on there. He also described Anna Bowie as the dream girl. A few weeks after he had initially broke off this relationship, he realised, oh, I was wrong. I'm sorry. Like I want you back. Like I was totally wrong. He told all of his friends that his decision just wasn't right. However, there was rumours that Anna, his ex, had been seeing other people. She just wasn't in any kind of rush to go back to him. She told her friends that she didn't feel right in that situation anymore. People that knew Allen, when he found out about Anna seeing all these people, the rumours, he, according to them, switched, which Of course he did. Of course he did. So on July 29th, 2016, Alan and Anna's school friends, they all came back from their colleges, and one of their friends held a big like reunion party kind of situation at like $1 million house. They must have been absolutely minted. That night, Alan drove to the party at about 10 p.m. and at this party there was around about 20 people, so there wasn't many people, and in that situation you kind of must know everyone, so everyone would have spoken to each other. However, within these 20 people was also Anna, so a lot of friends said they might have spoken, they must have spoken like a hi or something, but nothing really more. Alan wasn't at the party for long whatsoever. Within a few minutes he had already left, he'd gone back to his car, and he just sat there. He then went into his glove box, grabbed a manual for an AR-15 rifle, then proceeded to sit and read this manual for about 2 hours, learning how to load and shoot his gun. So after these 2 hours had gone by, he loaded his gun that he had bought a couple weeks prior at a gun store, which is going to become very, not crucial, but very prominent towards the end of this case. This gun was fully loaded, which held 30 bullets. Then he proceeded to walk back to the party at around midnight. Of course, like, the street lights were on, there was lights coming from the houses, but it was still dark in some areas, and Alan was trying to stick to them areas so no one would see him. However, one boy called Jacob Long, who was 19 years at the time, spotted him crawling, creeping about. So Alan tried to back himself onto the wall so he couldn't be seen. However, he had been seen. And once he'd realised Jacob had seen him, he raised his gun, and immediately Jacob started like pleading with him, like, please, like, no, don't do it. Then Jacob turned to run away, and as he does this, Alan shoots 3 bullets into his back. He fell to the floor, which was next to the garden path, so it was a very like obvious place, and he died almost instantly. As Alan continued to walk to the party, he then was spotted by another 2 boys. These 2 boys were 19-year-old Jordan Ebner and 18-year-old Will Kramer. Alan aimed at Will, shot him once in the back. He turns towards Jordan. As he does this, Will like crawls away from the scene. He survived the gunshot. He was taken straight to hospital. It was said the bullet entered through his left shoulder blade, and he recovered within about a month. However, some sources say that he is paralysed forever now, permanently paralysed, and others say he's completely fine, so who you choose to believe is up to you, but I don't know. Unfortunately, after that, Alan had turned to Jordan and shot him, killing him instantly. Alan then walked towards the kitchen through the patio doors and went straight to the kitchen table, where his ex, Anna Bowie, was already sat. He raised the gun and shot her multiple times, mainly in the face and the head area. She died almost instantly. With the rest of the party seeing what had happened, they had all like run off screaming, like crying, hiding, some locking themselves in closets and bathrooms just to be safe. Meanwhile, Alan went upstairs to the master bedroom, which had a balcony. He walks over to the balcony, opens the door, and proceeds to shoot at the ground below him where everyone else was running away from the party. There was 2 boys he was aiming at. They did escape, however, one of his bullets came so close to one of the boys' legs it had burnt it. People who had locked themselves away in cupboards, toilets, etc. had started to call their family members, the police, to tell them what had happened, to get people to the scene. And then Alan ran out of ammo, so he had shot 30 bullets altogether. Considering he only used around about 10 of them to kill the first 4 people, it's a bit like, oh. He then ran to his car and just drove off because he's just killed 4 people and injured others. However, during one of the 911 calls, someone who was at the party had said to the police that they were 99% sure that it was Allen Ivanov who had done this. So with this, they tracked his phone, they located where he was, and within 90 minutes he had already travelled 100 miles away from the scene. But police still managed to track him down, arrest him. But Allen was very cooperative. There was no like struggle. He didn't really try to defend himself. He was just like, well, they've caught me, there's nothing else I can do, I've been caught. And then the police just drove him back to the police station in the back of their car. Sometime around now, Allen's own mother called the police station to tell them that she thought her son was involved in this shooting that had just happened. The police obviously took Allen's phone so they could look through it to see if there was any evidence on there that this was premeditated, pre-planned. And of course, looking through messages to friends, right after the shooting, he had messaged a few friends to tell them he had just killed his ex-girlfriend, which is a bit like sinister in the fact he is bragging that he's just killed his ex-girlfriend that he was supposedly in love with. And it's a bit weird on the friend's half that why is he messaging you to tell you that he's done this? Like, what was the need? So police continued to read through texts and they saw that there was text messages before this shooting happened that told them this had been planned for a while. A couple weeks before the shooting actually happened, he began to sign off a lot of his text messages with Allen Ivanov, future shooter. Like, why did no one grow suspicious of that? Like, that's not a joke. I don't know how Americans go about joking, but that's weird. Especially in the instance he's talking about killing his girlfriend. Like, they know he wants to do this, and he's now starting to sign off his messages with future shooter. Like, what are you doing? However, the friends took this as like a 50-50 joke. They thought he was joking, but then they also knew he could possibly be being serious, but they wanted to believe he was more joking, which they shouldn't have. Of course, they never imagined their friend would ever in their life do something like this to their own friends, like their own community, which is completely understandable, but then it's also still a bit weird. He spoke about killing Anna a lot, and he wasn't really afraid about talking to his friends about it. He was very open. Dennis has caused my door to open. That's so much fun. Let's go and shut that. Honestly, England is under attack right now, and I've also like moved back, so I'm a bit more comfortable because it then now just feels like I'm talking to you guys as a friend. I swear to God, if the door opens again, I'm going to cry. But yes, like I said, he spoke to his friends about wanting to kill Anna, and his friends knew how much hate he had for her and how he wanted to get revenge on Anna for not wanting her ex-boyfriend back who split things off with her. I don't know. After he began ending the text with the quote, Allen Ivanov, future shooter, one of his friends replied asking why he was so angry. Like, why did he hate her so much? And Allen just replied with, I hate Anna, I need revenge. Why was no one suspicious? Why did no one say anything? It's just so baffling. Like, it's not even an old case. Like, it's not even like no one was aware. no one could be told about this. This is so recent, the past couple of years. Why did no one say anything? Especially with the like crime rate and shooting rate in America, it just baffles me. A couple of days after he had sent this text message, he had actually messaged another friend saying, "I'm a fucking killer," which another friend who didn't say anything, it just blows my mind. Stop, say something. At that same time, Allen started posting on social media for the first time ever, like in his life. This was 2016, he hadn't had Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, so he went and downloaded Instagram and Twitter. His first tweet read, "First and last tweet, I've been through it all." And his first Instagram post was his AR-15 with the bullets alongside the gun. He captioned this, "You can't run with me." Again, no one questioned it. Okay. Funny thing is, immediately after his arrest, he confessed to everything in the car, that he had shot these people and he had caused damage to others. Because of course he was already in a police car, like he couldn't really lie about it. He knew he'd done wrong, so maybe to lessen his time, I don't know, he just said, "I did it." However, he did claim it to be an accident. He says he was confused during the attack and he wasn't really thinking straight, which, I'm not being funny, that's not really an excuse to go and kill people, but each their own, I guess. He was held without bail on suspicion of 1 count of aggravated first-degree murder, 2 counts of first-degree murder, and 1 account of first-degree murder. When he was officially charged, however, these were changed to 3 counts of aggravated first-degree murder, 1 count of attempted murder, and 1 count of first-degree assault. Weirdly enough, Allen Ivanov originally pleaded not guilty, even though he'd already confessed to it and that all the evidence was there, like, we've got you, like, what are you doing? You're not making things better for yourself at this point, but it's okay. His defence's argument was that they shouldn't have sold a 19-year-old whose brain isn't fully developed a gun, even though it's part of the law. And in America, I'm pretty sure you have to have checks before you get a gun license. I know they're not amazing checks, but there is some background, I guess. His lawyer repeatedly argued the point that at 19 you can't legally buy alcohol, so why should you be allowed to buy a gun, which is understandable, but that's not the court's doing. Like, that's a law, it's just how your country is. It's a bit over the place. We've been news this, so basically the main defence was the gun store shouldn't have sold a gun to a 19-year-old who is legally allowed to buy a gun in America, and yeah, just lose a customer because they felt like it on the day. Just, it doesn't make sense. It's not a strong point. His team did quickly realise the defence just wasn't strong enough. It's just, how could you possibly, you're being paid to be lawyers, how could you possibly come up with that? After this, Allen then decided to plead guilty to all charges against him so that he could avoid the death penalty, which thankfully he did, because I would so much rather him have prison time for doing something like this than be killed. Like, that's not a lesson. It's not a lesson. In the same hearing, he apologised to all of the families and friends of the victims that he had put through all of the court hearings. He apologised to everyone who had to stand up in these court hearings. And then he looked Anna Bowie's family dead in the eyes and said, "Anna comes to visit me in my dreams." It's just so twisted. It's like there's no remorse for what he's done. He doesn't really feel bad for what he's done. He obviously continued to blame the gun store for selling him the gun in the first place because he wasn't mentally stable enough But my point still stands, how would they possibly have known if you got a gun licence they can sell it to you? So he'll never really take responsibility for what he's done, which is just so rude, in my opinion. It's just so rude towards the families, like, you know you've done this, and just stop putting the blame on other people. On January 12th, 2017, Allen Ivanov was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, which I think is the correct decision. Allen's family then released a statement which read, "Never in our worst nightmare did we think that it would come to such a tragedy for our family, our friends and our community." They were really like surprised by their son's actions. They'd brought him up with so much love and care. They just were so shocked by it themselves. And then in the summer of 2018, Jacob Long, who was the first victim in the shooting, his family decided to file a lawsuit against Allen Ivanov's family for knowing about his mental instability and not really doing anything to sort it out. This case was obviously dismissed as Allen was 19, he was legally classed as an adult, so his family didn't really have any control over what he did with his life. They had no say in what he did. Around the same time, Anna Bowie's brother David Bowie also decided to file a lawsuit against the Ivanov family, the gun store, and against the boy's parents who let him throw a party in their house unsupervised. The claim against the parents was obviously there was underage drinking happening on their property, which isn't a rare occurrence in America. Of course, the legal drinking age is 21, so before 21 you're going to want to drink, so it's very common that parties happen and the police aren't really too worried about it. However, in a case like this, it is something that has to be taken seriously. But as there was no real evidence that Allen was under any influence of drinks that night, even though we can't be sure he wasn't, the case was still dropped. However, David's lawsuit against the gun store flagged up something that hadn't been publicly shared or spoken about prior to this. Allegedly, Allen's mother found the AR-15 in his bedroom, and of course when she found this gun she didn't want her son having it, she didn't want her son owning a gun, so she tried to return it, knowing his mental state as well. She was just trying to protect him. But as she wasn't the person who bought the gun, they couldn't return it. It's like a return policy. So she couldn't really get rid of the gun any other way, so she just decided to give it back to Allen. Not entirely sure what she thought this would do. I don't know. This could have possibly sparked something in Allen quicker than it probably was going to. I don't know, that's just an assumption. But David Bowie quote said, "She could have done something more to stop the shooting her son committed." That is the case completed. I know it wasn't a out there kind of case, but for one of my first, I'm very happy. I can see I've been sat here filming for quite a while, so that makes me very happy and I'm just glad I'm back. And of course, if you do want more of these kind of videos, let me know down below, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, do your thing. And again, I'm also not amazing with uploads, if you already know. There is a link to my other social medias. Got Instagram, got Twitter, got 21 buttons, got TikTok, because Evie started TikTok because she thought, how else to get your career going than starting a TikTok account. But yeah, any updates or like where I am, it'll be somewhere on one of them socials, so go there. Yeah, I've had so much fun filming this case. I hope you guys did enjoy, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.